You feel it before you even realize it's happening. A tiny itch in your hand. A pull in your attention. You reach for your phone. You didn't decide to. It just happened. But the real answer for why you do this is far stranger than a bad habit. It's not really about the phone. It's about something your brain has been doing for millions of years. Long before screens. Long before electricity. Long before anyone had a reason to check anything at all. Your brain is a prediction machine. It doesn't like uncertainty. It wants to know what's out there right now before it becomes a problem. This is not a modern flaw. It is an ancient survival tool. Think about your ancestors. Not your grandparents, your ancestors from tens of thousands of years ago, moving through tall grass on the savannah. What separated the ones who survived from the ones who didn't? It wasn't strength alone. It was vigilance. The humans who kept scanning the environment, who kept checking the tree line, who kept glancing over their shoulder, were the ones who noticed the predator first. The ones who didn't check, who let their guard down for too long, often didn't get a second chance. So, evolution rewarded checking, rewarded scanning, rewarded the small, quick glance that cost almost nothing, but occasionally saved everything. Your brain still runs that same program today. It hasn't been updated. It still assumes the world outside might contain a threat or an opportunity, and it still assumes the cost of checking is small. That's the first piece of the puzzle. But it's not the whole story. There's a second, even stranger mechanism at play, and it comes from a psychologist named B.F. Skinner. In the 1930s, Skinner ran experiments on pigeons using a device now called the Skinner box. Inside the box, a pigeon could peck a lever to receive food. When food came every single time the pigeon pecked steadily, calmly, without much urgency. But when Skinner changed the pattern, when food came only sometimes, unpredictably, after some pecks and not others, something changed in the pigeon's behavior. It didn't peck less, it pecked more, frantically, obsessively. Skinner called this a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, and it turns out to be one of the most powerful behavioral triggers ever discovered. Uncertainty doesn't reduce desire, it amplifies it. Your phone runs on this exact same principle. You don't know what's waiting when you unlock it. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's a message that matters. Maybe it's a like, a comment, a notification that makes you feel seen. The uncertainty is the hook, not the content itself. Slot machines use the same mechanism. Casinos have understood this for decades, long before anyone built an app. The unpredictability of the reward is what keeps the hand pulling the lever, and it's what keeps your thumb swiping the screen. There's a third layer to this, and it lives in your brain's chemistry. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz studied dopamine, the neurotransmitter often mislabeled as the pleasure chemical. His research on primates revealed something more precise. Dopamine doesn't spike when you receive a reward. It spikes when you anticipate one. The anticipation is the high point, not the payoff. This is why the moment right before you unlock your phone often feels more charged than the moment after. Your brain has already released its chemical signal in anticipation of what might be there. By the time you see the actual content, the peak has often already passed. Put these three things together. A prediction machine built to scan for threats and opportunities. A reward system that gets more excited by unpredictability than by certainty. And a chemical signal that fires strongest in anticipation, not in the payoff itself. Now you understand what your phone actually is. It's not a device, it's a machine perfectly shaped to fit 3 ancient grooves in your brain that were carved out over millions of years, long before anyone had heard of a smartphone. You are not weak for checking it. You are not undisciplined. You are running software that was optimized for a savanna, not for a pocket-sized device that can ping you 1,000 times a day. There's a modern experiment that makes this even clearer. In 2017, researchers led by Adrian Ward published a study looking at what happens to cognitive performance simply when a phone is nearby, even if it's turned off and face down. Participants who had their phone in another room performed better on tests of working memory and problem solving than participants who had their phone sitting on the desk in front of them untouched. Just its presence was enough to pull on attention. Just knowing it was there and might buzz was enough to cost mental resources. Your brain doesn't fully relax around a device that might, at any moment, contain information. It keeps a small portion of itself on watch, always scanning, always ready. This is the same brain that once needed to watch the tree line. It hasn't changed, only the tree line has. So what do you do with this? Understanding the mechanism doesn't erase it, but it does something else. It removes the shame from it. This isn't a personal failure. It's an ancient system meeting a modern trigger it was never designed to resist. Some of the most effective habits people build around this knowledge are strangely simple. Turning off notifications removes the unpredictable reward signal. Leaving the phone in another room removes the ambient pull on attention. Even switching a screen to grayscale reduces some of the dopamine-driven visual reward that color provides. None of these fully rewire millions of years of evolution, but they interrupt the pattern enough to give you back a little bit of choice. Tonight, when you feel that small itch in your hand, that pull toward the screen, notice it for what it actually is. Not a flaw, not weakness, just an old survival instinct, reaching for a tree line that isn't there anymore. And in that moment of noticing, you get something your ancestors never had. A choice about whether to check,